with reaction. Florida Congressman Michael Waltz is with us. Fox and Friends weekend co-host. Our friend Pete Hegseth is back with us, too. You know, I listen to Joe Biden and I hear what he has to say here. And I listen, you know, and I'm just shocked, Congressman, because Iran's gotten the message that they can what? You know, they've gotten the message. You know, don't is the message. Well, they're not listening to don't because they do and they do and they do again and again and again.
Well, Sean, as we all know, don't isn't a strategy. And on top of the 165 attacks that you mentioned, that's since October. They had conducted 78 on top of that since Biden came into office. And I'll remind everyone, the reason we have small numbers of special operators, drone operators, and others in the Middle East is they're still going after ISIS and keeping a boot on their neck so they don't hit us here. But you know, right now they're sitting ducks for Iran and their militias. Sean, it is a simple reversal of policy. You hit the IRGC operatives that are running around the Middle East, including Soleimani's successor. Number two, you dry up the cash. Iran's received over $100 billion in oil sales, waivers, and hostage money since Biden has come in. And number three, that no one's talked about, you've had multiple uprisings within Iran, the Green movement that Obama ignored, and Mahsa Amini, the poor woman who was murdered for daring not wear a hijab, and the uprising that followed from that murder. Let's not sit on our hands the next time the Iranian people say they want some change. But look, we've got to reverse policy. All roads lead back to Tehran instead of playing whack-a-mole with the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, these militias. And I'm telling you, I'm talking to soldiers downrange right now. We are bombing empty warehouses in the middle of the night so that this administration can check the box and say they're doing something. And they're doing nothing that is meaningful. And now we have more Gold Star families because of it. And it's infuriating.
It is infuriating. And, you know, at some point when they attack our troops nearly 200 times, Pete Hegseth, you know, when do we come to the conclusion that the only thing that they're going to listen to is force? Now, add one other component to this, and that would be I keep reading and I keep talking to sources, and they keep telling me that Iran is a lot closer to nuclear capability than they've ever been, maybe just months away.
Yes.
And I can't imagine a world where that radical ideology is married to nuclear weapons. I don't think mutually assured destruction would actually deter them.
No, you hit the right point, Sean. That's the headline in this situation gets that much more dangerous and difficult if Tehran has nuclear weapons. And that's laid at the feet of Obama and Biden's appeasement strategy, who've gotten them that much closer, and they know it. And now they're counting on Russia to China to have their backs as well. You know, Colonel Waltz has been on remote bases like I have in the middle of nowhere in Iraq and Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. The only security you have, you don't know if your air defenses will ultimately hold in any particular situation. The only security you have at a unit level and overall is whether or not you can go on the offensive. Can you push the initiative to kill the bad guys and make sure they know if you attack Americans, you're dead? And what Colonel Waltz said is right. At the micro level, at the base level, I'm hearing from guys, too, overseas. They're not allowed to conduct aggressive offensive operations to secure their perimeter and take out bad guys to secure themselves. So they're sitting ducks in that context. And then they're sitting ducks on a geopolitical context because the mullahs in Tehran believe they have free range. And what is this White House talking about, Sean? What's their strategy besides don't? Is we want a ceasefire in Gaza because they somehow believe that the Houthis and the Iranians, ultimately, if there's a ceasefire in Gaza, they'll stand back, when all they're using that as an excuse to hit us even more. And one more thing, these three Georgia reservists, God bless them, deployed out of Fort Moore. Do you know where Fort Moore is? I don't either. Do you know why? Because they renamed it. It was Fort Benning in Georgia. See, this administration's been more interested in renaming bases and social engineering. These guys, by the way, could be guarding the southern border. Instead, they're guarding the Jordan, Syrian, Iraq border, and they're sitting ducks, and it is on this administration. There's no strategy. The problem is, Sean, I want them to be aggressive, but who do I trust? CQ Brown,
Oh, it's a
Lloyd
great point.
Austin, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. What do you do?
Not
You
really.
can't trust any of them.
No. It's scary. And, you know, what is the net result here? We're going to have a nuclear-armed Iran? That ought to put fear into the hearts of every American. And, Congressman, go ahead. Last word.
No, I was just going to say, look, I mean, who do we trust? Well, I'll tell you, under President Trump, ISIS was defeated, Baghdadi was dead, Iran was broke, and we had the Abraham Accords with multiple Arab countries, and Israel, our greatest ally, was stronger and vibrant and thriving. So I think we know our answer come this November. Let's get Donald Trump back in the White House that our enemies fear.
All right, Congressman Waltz, Pete Hegseth, thank you both. We appreciate you both being with us.